Trying to make sure the rocks are not flying.
Good morning.
Morning.
Everybody doing good? I guess we'll call to order. We'll do the approval of minutes for June 12th, 2025. So I have a motion.
I move for approval.
Do we have a second?
A second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Section 3, we'll have a section here for public comments. If anyone would like to say a few words or ask any questions. If not, we'll move to the presentation of financial progress report for August 2025, public infrastructure budget by finance, and August progress report by public works. Morning.
Hi, good morning. My name is Paul Boylan. I'm with the accounting department with the city, and I'm going to go over the progress report with financials. It was expressed at the last board meeting that our budget report to be more broken out and explained. So if you have that with you today, I believe it was sent. It could be pulled up. So on the far left column, you'll see that it is broken up into two columns, the stadium and public infrastructure. The stadium includes things such as professional services, the construction of the site, team equipment and contingency expenses. Below that, we have the public infrastructure, which is essentially the West 26th Street infrastructure surrounding the stadium. To the right of that, it is broken up into 5 columns, which includes the budget, encumbrance, the actual expenses, the amount remaining, and the percentage used. For example, the percentage used explains the amount that has been expensed from the budget and is shown in percentage form. Most notably, on the stadium side, we have $59 million encumbrance, so that just shows that there's been a lot of work done on the project, and it is in the pipeline to be expensed. So by the next time we meet at the next board meeting, you should see a lot of that shown up in the actual column. Beyond that, before I move on to the next statement, does the board have any questions about this statement? Okay, I'll move on to the next one, which is more of a detailed explanation of all the expenses incurred as well as the balance. Most notably on this one, with the cash with agents with U.S. Bank, something I wanted to let the board know is that we are in the process of making our third drawdown from the bank for the amount of $14 million. So at the next board meeting, you should see that represented on the statement. So where it says $76 million with U.S. Bank, that should be roughly $61 million by the time we do the next drawdown. If there's any other questions that the board may have, I'll be happy to answer.
No.
Still have money in the bank, in other words.
Oh, yeah, it's still there.
All right.
Yep. Okay, thank you.
But when you say draw down from the bank, you just mean monies to cover bills.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So in other words, this amount here, that $6 million interfund cash, is that, what's that? Is that?
Say $6 million?
Actual, the first item on the balance sheet.
Oh, okay. So let's see, from the first item on the budget, where it says professional services, $6 million?
No. Sheet.
On the balance sheet, okay. Yes, ma'am, I believe so, yes.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And thank you, I really appreciate this clarity. I like this presentation, so thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, and if you need any adjustments, just let us know, and we'll be happy to do it.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to number 5 here. A resolution authorizing change order number 1 to the executive architect contract D23001-101 for field level adjustments, design revisions to the powerhouse pattern shop and third base building, kitchen equipment revisions and coordination, FEMA regulation coordination, structural and mechanical coordination for Chattanooga professional baseball, provided items in the amount of $735,906.75 and reimbursable expenses allowance of $45,000 for a total contract value of $5,123,906.75.
Good morning, Shirley Allen, Senior Advisor for Economic and Community Development. I am filling in today for Bill Payne and for Clay Oliver. We do have a Public Works update slide presentation we'd like to present before we get to this item. If there's a new slide, I'll go through that. Perfect. I'm going to start with the updates and then we'll go through the resolutions. So this is our construction update slide. Perfect. So structural and interior renovations of the powerhouse located in right field down to the first base are underway. This includes starting the extension towards the right field and first base. Roof work is underway as well on the pattern shop, home plate building, and third base building, and steel erection for the pattern shop balcony facing first base line is underway. We also have Riverwalk improvements and public utility construction has started. You'll go to the next slide. Okay, this is our August spend report. Stadium costs to date continue to trend similar to our initial cash flow estimates. There's a slight lag seen on the chart, and that's for two main reasons there. The first is delayed invoicings for some design service work, which will be caught up in the next Sports Authority meeting. And then the second is a result of savings realized by EMJ within the guaranteed maximum price during the project to date. These savings are recouped to the owner within EMJ's contract. They are being utilized to cover unforeseen costs not within EMJ's scope of work originally. And if we'll go to the next slide. Okay, this is our 26th Street site prep and team supplied equipment. These columns represent the amounts reimbursed to the developer and the team for completed work and do not reflect the total percent complete of the scope of the project due to the lag and draw on submittal and approval. So you've got remaining budget and what's spent. DBE participation. This shows a progress towards the 30% requirement participation goal that was set. This pending amount is a single contractor that has submitted their certification paperwork and is awaiting a response from the certifying agency. And we've got a drone video for you.
Well,
Shows the progress.
That was a month ago, too.
It's starting to look like a stadium. This is fantastic.
much better view from the interstate. Nice.
Okay, and we're almost to the end of the video. Okay. Andy, do you want to speak to any of?
Yeah, I can.
I'm listening to the stadium folks chatter, and I was like, would you like to come to the mic?
Happily to. Hi, everybody. I'm Andy Stone. I'm with Perimeter Properties. We were just talking, this is a month old already. Obviously, a lot of progress has happened. I know we had a lot of water yesterday. One of the things we designed, I was telling the team earlier, we designed a drainage system and a field stability system to handle excess water flows. It was part of the early work we did was the jack and bore underneath the interstate to make sure the stadium drained. We had no delays, even with all the intense rains that we had. Can't say the same for TDOT, but we were able to drain the field and everything was back to work. We've had very little downtime with the weather, which has been surprising and very fortunate. But the work you see here is already a month old. Concourse is open, you can get upstairs. The pattern shop work, you're not seeing the details of the inside of that, but all walls and framing, elevators, staircases, all the points now are accessible, which is really nice. So we're out of ladder mode and into the work. The other pieces here that you're not seeing is we did close the Riverwalk down last month. That went well. Obviously, there was some public concern about the Riverwalk closure. We're working to get that back open. That work began. It was critical to get the water and utility infrastructure in place. Water line is now basically where the excavators you see in this picture are. So that's making the connection around the backside. Electrical completion starts again next week, so they start back on site from a utility standpoint. But all in all, the project's going very, very well. Happy to show you guys anytime you guys need to have a tour or anything. But it changes every day. So again, can't give EMJ and the team here enough credit for all the hard work that's going in and all of our partners down there. So. Schedule, yes, we are on schedule, which is phenomenal as well. So,
Any estimates now about how long the Riverwalk will be closed?
you know, so hopefully we get it open in the beginning of next year in Q1. There's a lot of work that has to happen. So utilities was key. Right. So they have to get water on the buildings for fire suppression and plumbing testing. And so that was the key component from a schedule standpoint of why we had to shut it down. And we kept pushing it off as much as we could and finally ran up to the time frame where we just had to close it. Yes. The goal is to get it open as quickly as possible and resume connectivity. It's going to be really weather dependent. Landscaping and plantings, the retaining walls are going in, so the concourse is supported. The Riverwalk will be down here, the permanent Riverwalk, and the concourse is supported. And so it's really a lot weather dependent. Like that was a piece of work that nothing happened yesterday on, for example. And maybe some work today will, but it'll all be weather dependent.
Okay. The bicyclists will be happy whenever you can. Yeah.
Yes, and you know, it's unbelievable. I remember when that Riverwalk section first opened and, you know, you'd see 1 or 2 people a day. And, yes. You know, when even up until right before our closure, you know, it is a very busy section of the Riverwalk, which is a wonderful thing. And, you know, it's going to be phenomenal when we get done with it. And, you know, we'll get it open as quick as we can.
All right, thank you.
Well,
It was great, thanks.
yep.
Terrific. Thank you. With that update on Public Works, we'd now like to move back to the agenda, Roman numeral item 5. This is a resolution for a change order. And so this change order is to the executive architect contract. The funds are reimbursable expenses that were included in the contract language but not funded. It also captures multiple design revisions that have occurred throughout the design and construction phase. And those revisions include the first, raising the field level 10 feet during the schematic design phase, design revisions to the powerhouse, the pattern shop, the third base building, revisions to the kitchen equipment and coordination, FEMA regulation coordination, and structural and mechanical coordination for team-provided items. So that is the resolution for change order number 1 on this item, and we'll need a vote for this one.
Is this all within the pre-approved budget? Or are we approving additional funds?
Yeah. Jeff?
I'm Jeff RPR, representing Bill and the city for the project. Clay wasn't able to be here this morning, so I found out at the last minute that I needed to come down here and answer questions.
Sure.
So your question was in the initial overall per project budget, the 86 million?
Yes.
all of these funds are still encapsulated. So all three of the change orders that are going to be discussed today, the project is still under the total project is still under the $86 million budget.
Okay.
So we're still under budget. And one point on this change for the architect, in the initial resolution for the executive architect, there was a $400,000 contingency. So this resolution will, my understanding from Bill Payne, this resolution will override the initial. So that $400,000 contingency goes away. So there's really only a delta of, it's a 729?
735.
735, so it's really only a delta of 335.
Okay.
Because there was a $400,000 contingency in the initial resolution that will be offset by this,
Okay.
so. And the bulk of that was back in schematic design when we had to raise the field up 10 feet because TDEC had concerns about groundwater at the lower levels and contamination transferring from off-property site. There was contamination that was discovered in an adjacent property that they were concerned if we went as deep as we wanted to go and we're having to pump water on a daily basis for several weeks, we might draw that contaminated water closer to the property. So the decision was made to raise the field from the initial design. That's where the bulk of this expense is coming from, so.
I don't know if this is a question for Jeff or maybe Phil could help, but what makes a change order come to us for approval versus just like the day-to-day?
Because you have an initial contract for the services here, and you have to have a CRF or a change order request form made, and that would bring it back to y'all here for this increased amount.
Okay.
Although it is under the overall project budget is a change to the architect's contract.
Okay,
And so changes to the contract amounts will have to go through you guys.
I see.
There was a amount of funds under the 86 million that were never allocated to anything, and that's what we're asking to use some of those funds for this.
Okay. So it just wasn't in the original contract, but it's still within our allowable budget.
Right. And then the $45,000 reimbursable was on, it was in DH&W's original contract, but it was never captured in the funding. It was kind of a separate line item and it got missed. So that we've been paying those invoices, but the funding was never there captured, so.
Okay.
Well, I appreciate that question, 'cause it helps me kind of understand, but how much,
Sorry, my mom.
oh,
She doesn't get blocked when my phone's turned off.
all good. How much is there, I guess, in the other category that I guess is like underneath that $86 million that isn't allocated? I mean, do you know the answer to that?
I don't have those numbers with me right now, but after the three resolutions today, I believe it's somewhere between 300,000 and 500,000. That's still unallocated.
Unallocated for, so, okay, so that money
I don't have the
is-
exact number with me, but
That'll
it's-
be roughly then half of that will be allocated to this?
No, that's
half of
after,
what's
that would be
left.
after.
No, but
the
half of
three-
what's left now is
After
what
the
I'm
three
saying.
resolutions today, if all three resolutions
Okay.
today get approved, that's how much will still be left on the initial budget unallocated.
Okay. Just curious, just renovated a house and know that area gets gone quick, so,
Doing that today as well.
yeah.
Okay,
Yes, ma'am.
I thought I had this until you kept talking. One other question, budget versus allocation. I'm looking at the budget, 125 million in total, and then it says amount remaining of 110. Is that, will this contract be part of the encumbrances? I would have thought, no?
I'm not sure, I know what numbers you're getting.
I'm sure Paul does. This contract has already been approved, and this is a change order. What's the initial contract value?
For the
About-
executive architect's contract?
Yeah, that we have already approved.
It
Wasn't around
was,
80?
I have that.
$6 million total for professional services is this, but I don't know.
No, I'm just
Total contract value?
We gonna approve $59
So
million?
it was, hold on, I have it right here.
We've encumbered 59, it shows.
I thought that contract was 80.
GSW.
I don't even know if that's professional service.
Executive architect contract.
And this is not necessarily this contract, this is this, I'm just thinking in total, how much has been, how many?
So the initial,
POs are out there?
the initial contract was a $3,958,000 for basic services, $385,000 for additional essential services, and a $400,000 design contingency for a total of $4.743.
Right, which is all encompassed in the $59 million, I assume. My question was, how much of this total project has been contracted out, not spent? Is it the 59 million, 59.5 million? Plus the 14 that's already been spent, which makes it,
37.
yeah.
37 million we've spent today. It was on your last slide.
How much we've spent to date?
Yeah. Across all project needs, we.
Yes,
Yeah, about 37 million.
across our projects, is how much?
It's 37, it was on Sharita's slide. It was 37 million, is that right, Sharita?
Of the 125? Yeah.
Well, that's across all projects.
Right. All right, well, we'll, I think Paul knows my question, so he can answer it. You can even answer it next time, but if you want to now, that's fine. If you'll just look on the financial page that he presented, that's $59 million in encumbrance for the entire project. So it's inclusive of a lot of things other than probably EMJ. Yeah,
Yes, ma'am.
yeah.
Yeah, yes, ma'am.
And is this a professional service since it's the architect's?
Well, the professional services line doesn't have any encumbrance, but other than
Shows
actual.
1,000,003 actual, I didn't know.
Yeah. The professional services line here has 6 million budgeted with nothing encumbrance. So I'm assuming all of the encumbrances are in one line item.
Okay.
Okay, all right.
I'm not sure, if I can see
it's still
the paper you're
questions out
looking at,
there,
I can understand your question better, but I'm not sure what,
We can
any
move.
other questions?
Do we have any other questions? Does anything else need to be presented for all three of these change orders? Or should we just,
I think you should do them one at a time on here, but
Okay.
he's told you that at least there will still be money in the bank at the end of all three of these changes.
Yes.
we'll,
Yes.
so we'll go ahead and vote on number 5 then?
And before we take action, I'm just curious here, but have there been any items anywhere along the way where maybe we've seen, hey, that there are potential savings here and there? Because I know that, and I mean, we're going to take these one by one, but getting down to, 300,000 and some change, I mean, that's in the scope of a project like this, it's not a lot of money. And has there been anything like that? Just being curious.
I think so the 300,000 is unallocated, it's not contingency. So it's different, there's two different buckets, right? So there was two different sets of contingencies put in, right? So
Okay.
there's owner-directed contingency that was in control of the Sports Authority. And then there's contingency that EMJ is carrying. $0 have been spent out of the EMJ contingency at this point. There was also a bucket of unknowns or unallocated funds where allowance items were put into the budget. So trying to think of an example of something, like FF&E is a good example,
Yeah.
right? Where they didn't know the exact detail of the cost. And so those are coming in under budget. But some of the savings there has been reallocated, and that's what this reallocation is, right? So we're still haven't dipped into contingency from the contractor side yet, which is important, because you're right, 300,000 with a lot of work left to do would be uncomfortable at this point. But that's not, it's the reallocation of the funds across the allowance
Okay.
items.
I thought you were saying we have 330 total sludge. I'm like, well,
No, that's
not
scary.
good. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, no, and
No.
And Ms. Daisy, just to clarify too, there's so many different pieces of that $125 million capital stack is what makes it complicated too, with, you know, your consultants, our work, the team's work, right, to get to that total package number, you know, that's why there's that summary slide, which is also, I believe, at least 30 days in arrear where we're actually spent to, you know, what you're seeing is at least 30 days behind where the actual dollars are today. So.
My
And
question,
to answer, on the construction side, there has been, we have found significant places where we were able to get savings in initial buyout and also in, some of these redesigns were for cost savings purposes. So there's additional expense in redesigning something so that it would cost less to build. So, and this change order is just design cost. So it's for the architect.
Okay, thank you. That helps me
Yeah.
feel a little bit better about
Before I
everything.
became a lawyer, I used to dig in the dirt a lot on construction jobs, and the fact that you're leaving this 10 feet higher, is that a savings on some cost in connection with this project?
Long-term O&M, but we counted for that a long time ago.
Yeah, that was
That was never, EMJ never bid the deeper design.
So they never dug
No.
it 10 foot deeper when they were going along?
that was a late 2023 change
Okay.
that we're just now getting the architect's contract caught up to.
But if we'd had to dig 10 foot deeper, you'd have to carry that out, you'd have to dig it up, and you'd have to take it somewhere, which would have increased your cost, correct?
Unbelievably.
Yes.
Exponentially.
And it wasn't dirt, so you
Yes.
can't just put it anywhere.
Yes. Okay.
There actually was, although there was a significant redesign fees, there was probably significant savings in earthwork by doing that. Not to mention possible permanent groundwater control measures had we gone that deep.
Yes.
So these were several of the reasons why we made the change to move it up.
Okay.
Daisy?
I'm impressed, Bill, for an attorney to know those kinds of questions. Bottom line, item number 5, the contract value, $5.1 million, that is below the budgeted amount for these services. Is that correct? Or within?
No, it would be a change to the budgeted amount for these services.
Okay.
But I was saying the overall project is below
You mean
the,
of the 125 overall project? Which overall project? The $80 million?
86 million for the stadium.
Okay,
This would be
Alright.
considered soft costs on the 86 million.
okay.
It's a delta of 335K on the architecture costs, is that correct?
For this change order? Yeah. So it's an increase in their contract by $735,000. But there's also a $400,000 contingency that was being carried that'll go away.
Right,
So it'll be a delta of 335,906.
got it.
So will the budget be reallocated to show that, so that when we see a budget now, it would show the changes? So you're
Yes,
gonna amend the budget as well?
Yes, ma'am.
So that, thank you.
Gotcha.
One last thing. So in order to cover that 300, you're gonna have to pull it from another area. In order for the entire, or not, that's not fair view, that $125 million contract, budget for this whole project. In order to increase yours by 300,000, then something else is gonna have to come under. Is that correct?
Well,
It already did?
there was. Can you explain that, Chad? The initial budget for the 86 million included the whole 86 million. But in the initial contracts and agreements that were written did not cover the whole 86 million. There was extra money. There was
Okay,
money above, and that's where this is gonna come from.
okay, so then it is within the $86 million budget?
Yes,
Okay. So it is, all right. Thank you.
Okay.
I'm not sure the legal names for the different piles of money, but they're piles of money. So that's why Bill Payne's usually standing here.
Well, thank you, Jeff. I'll ask the board, is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay,
Okay,
thanks, Jeff.
I'll stay here.
Item 6, a resolution authorizing change order for D23001-302 S&ME Construction Materials Testing Contract to add special inspections in the amount of $143,615 for a total contract value of $327,062.
Okay. So this change order adds special inspections that are required for proper quality assurances of the construction contract and for building codes and other regulatory requirements.
So I guess,
That's all I have for this item.
so I'm assuming the same applies to this as the other conversation.
That is correct.
Meaning that it's still within budget
They're still within budget, yes.
for this particular contract.
Was there something that transpired to cause a doubling of this portion of the inspection budget?
Jeff, you might be able to answer this better than I can. It's the materials testing.
Yes. So this is, S&ME was contracted to do materials testing. They test the concrete when it gets poured to make sure it matches. They test the steel, they test mortar.
Yeah, it's third-party inspection.
There's third-party inspections to make sure that codes are being followed and make sure that the contractor and the owner both are uninvolved in the testing process. Right. And this is, with these contracts for third-party testing, at the beginning of any project, a lot of assumptions are made based on typical and, you know, we had to put a budget together before we had a complete design. So there were assumptions made on how many concrete testing there would be, how much steel testing there would be. And with some projects, you get halfway through the project and realize you have way too much money, you're not gonna spend it all. And others, you realize that you had assumptions that were made were wrong. For example, on this project, one of the assumptions that was made was early on, and one of the reasons for this change order is structural steel inspections. They're typical projects. Moment welds are ultrasounded to make sure the welds are complete and installed properly, typically 10% of the welds. On this project, there was a whole big, huge building that runs down the third base line. Because of the unique steel structure of that building, the engineer wanted 100% of the welds tested. Well, their initial budget was based on a 10% assumption. So that was a significant increase in their cost.
Thanks, man. Appreciate the example. That's good.
Is that because we were hooking onto older structures here as well? I wondered about that.
That's part of it also, yeah.
Explain to, so this is the third-party inspection requirement under the IBC. So IBC requires you to have a third-party independent inspector
Yes.
to do this stuff. So that's an engineer's discretion. So the Sports Authority structural engineer just said, hey, I feel better giving you a level of confidence in certifying that these moment joints are functioning as designed. So that was a call by the structural engineer, not necessarily a code or otherwise requirement. Yeah. But no, those two buildings are structurally isolated from each other, even though they connect. They're still designed independently of each other.
Okay, so there's independent design of the new structure versus the old structure.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay,
It's for the third base building.
all right.
So this just was, this change order, there were more testing and more requirements than was anticipated. And so this is a change order to get us to what we think will get us to the end of the project. Hopefully a little over getting us to the end of the project, so.
And just to clarify, it's a change in the contract, but it's still well within the overall budget.
Yes.
Okay.
It's just a change to S&ME's contract.
Right.
But it is still within the overall budget, yes.
Any further questions? Is there a motion to approve number 6?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Number 7, a resolution authorizing payment to Pipe Properties pursuant to the escrow agreement in the amount of $167,862 from the unallocated interest accruals of the Sports Authority's bonds.
Okay. So this covers the escrow agreement between the Sports Authority and Pipe Properties to provide funding for site preparation of the stadium, and includes this payment to Pipe Properties by the Sports Authority to cover certain carrying costs associated with placing the funds into escrow up front at the time the bonds were initially sold. And so I may ask finance or someone to answer any questions on that one. Any questions?
I'm just curious as to, the unauthorized interest is part of your total budget, is that correct? It was an estimated amount. What we're calling, a resolution authorizing, where is it? Unallocated interest is not part of the budget?
I will have to look into that for sure, but I'll have to look into that.
The unallocated interest,
Yes,
that's, that's interest that's already accrued over the 86 million, so it's not part of the budget.
it's not part of the budget?
Correct.
Okay, so how is that then accounted for as part of our total stadium cost?
Well, that would not be included, I believe, in the stadium cost because things that are associated with the bonds are not directly related to the construction of the stadium or the infrastructure around it. That is my understanding.
It's a payment to Pipe Properties. Does that relate to the stadium?
This payment, I believe, is for the construction. However, I believe the question was about the bonds in relation to the bonds and the budget. Is that what you were asking?
I'm asking about item number 6,
Yes.
authorizing payment to Pipe Properties, and the source of that payment is unallocated interest from the bonds.
Okay, so I have to confirm that with Bill and them, but how they're wanting to pull those funds from the interest bonds, but I'll have to find out from him.
We can answer that later.
Yes.
Can I
So was
jump
it
in the middle here?
The original escrow agreement.
The escrow agreement, which is attached here to this resolution, was actually signed back in October of 2024, and it was, of all people, approved, I think, by Mr. Noblet here as your attorney at that point in time. Paragraph 5 in this document here has got a provision that says, so long as the committed funds remain on deposit with the lender, all interest earned on the committed funds deposited with the lender shall belong to Pipe, less lender's customary servicing cost, if any. So it provides in that agreement that they would receive those funds that are interest earned on the committed funds during the term. And that agreement was, I guess, completed based upon the request of the West Banco Bank, which is the bonding company, I believe, in connection with this matter as well. And that document was approved by the Sports Authority. So that's a contractual obligation.
Figuring it out.
So what you're saying is, we authorize all of the accrued interest on the bond to go to Pipe?
Provided that there were committed funds remaining on deposit with the lender, all interest on it would go there. But it's only the interest that is remaining on
Right,
that.
yeah.
Yes.
So that will not be shown as an expense of our work for the stadium corporation, even though they're accruing from stadium bonds.
Yes.
Interesting. Interesting.
Well, if we're under obligation,
Under your agreement.
and then probably not much to discuss, I guess, huh?
Well, that's what you said you'd do.
Okay.
Yes.
And I don't, it's sort of a roundabout way of increasing the allocation or for the cost of the project. Because normally that interest accrual or that interest income could be used by the stadium, and indeed it is.
Yes.
So I don't have a problem with the interest being used for the project. It's just that it doesn't show up as part of the accounting, so it doesn't really show the total cost of the
I
total.
would argue that it probably should show since it's based upon this agreement here.
Well, that's, okay, well, maybe we're on the same page, we're getting two different places, but, so I'm back to whether or not that shows up, or how that shows up, or if it shows
Or
up.
can we
anywhere.
have it show up?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Thanks.
Yes, ma'am.
Attorney talk versus accountant talk, I guess.
Yes, ma'am. I don't have a problem with it showing up.
All right,
At all.
thanks.
No, ma'am.
Any further questions? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
I move for approval.
I'll second.
All in favor?
I don't know what.
Any opposed? Okay. Item 8, is there any other business to discuss? Any other comments to be made? If not, we'll adjourn.
Oh, wait.
Wait a minute, wait a minute. Item 8 is one involving Chattanooga Gas Company.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that is that one.
Yeah, we have one final item.
That one.
you haven't done 8.
Would you like for me to read that, or?
Says other business. Uh-uh,
Oh, you don't have number 8?
I don't have 8.
You got it.
It was added.
Oh, the amendment, I see, okay. A resolution authorizing the chairman or his designee to execute agreements or other documents with the Chattanooga Gas Company related to establishing natural gas service to the South Broad District Ballpark and authorizing payment for an amount up to $80,251.
This last item is related to natural gas service is needed to service the team's food operations at the park. There's currently natural gas, but it's on the other side of the Riverwalk. And so this agreement would extend that service to a metering point at the ballpark. So authorization is needed from the chair or designee to sign the agreement and to pay Chattanooga Gas for the line extension to provide service to the food for the operations.
I'll ask you,
this-
yeah, go ahead. I was going to make sure, is this part of the budget?
Yeah,
No,
it
ma'am.
It is part of the budget,
Yeah.
yes.
Right,
Okay.
thank you. I move for approval.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed? Okay. Thank you.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
I didn't go to Mike, so you can hear me, you don't have a loud voice. I didn't hear about like TIF money collected to service the bonds. How do we know we're taking in enough to service the bonds? Is that a part of this meeting or somewhere else?
Voted to ask who you were, what's your name?
It's Sean Stallings.
I'm not sure if that's a question we would answer, but
I will defer, of course, to the administration because I don't want to misstate. But if there isn't any, my understanding is that the TIF will not start coming in until the project. Is that right, guys?
So I will start by saying that this TIF district is already generating increment. And so that increment is coming from development in the parcels within the TIF district that are already coming up and have already had increased value. So we are already receiving TIF increment. I don't have that number in front of me.
10,000, and then it was 59.
What I know on the initial,
So it's 59 plus.
Yes, I can confirm we have received some TIF funds, but I'll have to go back and make sure I give you the specific amount. But this has just been the first time, so it wasn't much.
Okay. I need to take a minute. Good question, thank you.
when and why did the clock start on whatever date it started on?
My understanding was the administration went by, and I can't say for certain, but they just saw, some activity was occurring, so they want to go ahead and start that process.
Well,
If you could answer it, yeah.
Yeah, so there's a 3-year triggering provision inside the TIF saying that all properties within the TIF district have to be triggered within 3 years of the stadium opening. And so the first batch of the triggering occurred, I think it was around 70 properties, plus or minus. So that's where that TIF revenue is coming. So there's still a whole host of other properties inside the TIF district that haven't been triggered to start pulling that revenue into the stadium allocation. So,
And
But, go ahead.
I'm just curious where I can find that information, just to look at it, because I was in a meeting at one point where some of this was discussed, and I just don't even remember where the district is, and I feel like I should,
Sharita, do you, I know you can pull off the property records, but
without having to individually do that.
do you know if there's a centralized place you can pull the TIF, just the TIF district?
I will find that. There's a link somewhere.
Yeah.
PDF, Dropbox file somewhere, but I can't remember where.
Yeah,
That's just curious. Sorry.
Can you actually send to our board members the TIF district documentation? We actually
I would
have-
appreciate that.
Yeah, we'll get that to all the board members.
Thank you.
I will do that.
Yeah.
Great question, thank you, sir. For future meetings, is it possible to show how much TIF dollars are coming in? I mean, I wouldn't
And if it-
necessarily ask.
And if we could
property.
compare that to what the projections were, because
Yeah.
obviously there's a lag with the projections based on the development, but
Sure.
I think all that was factored into the projections when we approved all of this. So if there's a side-by-side of kind of like the chart you'll do now, essentially TIF revenue coming in versus what the projected TIF revenue was at that point, something like that would be helpful.
Absolutely, we'll add that.
Yeah.
thank you.
Thank you.
Is there anything else?
Nope, that was it.
Okay. All right. If there's nothing else, then we'll adjourn.